Have Sky overpaid?
I think that they definitely paid a lot larger than what people were expecting. I think the question mark here is how much of that they can recoup, whether it's through increase of the top line or indeed whether they can save further costs as well. If you look at the statement, what they talk about is minimising the impact on the consumer. So that would suggest that essentially what they will try and do is drive through extra cost savings in order to recoup the extra costs. Having said that, we've just put through, for example, over a 20% downgrade to our forecasts because what they paid was significantly ahead of expectations, both indeed ours and the consensus. So remains to be seen whether they can monetize those rights effectively, but at the moment it definitely does look as though they paid a very significant amount.
And their attempts to offset this increase of costs on the football, the majority of that is through cost savings. Those cost savings, though, are unrelated really to the football. They were already there.
Yeah, and this will be an interesting point. Sky had already talked about driving through synergies with regard to its merger with Sky Deutschland and Sky Italia. So any extra cost savings will be on top of those assumed synergies. If you take their cost base on a pro forma basis, it's around £10 billion if you exclude depreciation. So you may look at that and think, well, that's actually a large amount that they can play with. Bear in mind, though, that it's around £6 billion that has to do with programming or what they pay to BT in terms of direct network costs. There's not much they can really do about that. So you're therefore looking at the remainder for which they've got to play with. And they're facing significant competition from BT, so that will have an effect on marketing costs. We don't know what will happen with the Bundesliga rights, which come up next year. There are all these various pressures which are coming through.
And Ian, how much of an additional cost will be passed on to the subscriber? Because I believe Sky and BT, they don't make money on football coverage prices per se. It's selling customer bundles of TV channels. Exactly,
and it's going to be very tricky, I think, for them to pass on the full cost. If you were to look at the change in the rights packages, you'd be looking at Sky's paying an extra £630 million per annum. Now, you look at how many customers there are, there's around roughly just under 11 million customers. You're talking about £60 per annum, which is around £5. You include VAT, probably gets you up to £6. But if you were to take Sky Sports subscribers by themselves, you'd probably be looking at around double that figure. So you'd be asking Sky Sports customers, if they were to push all the increase through, to pay more than £10 extra per month. The question has to be how many people will do that. I think a lot of people would turn around and say, that's too much. Let's look at the alternatives.